Good morning to all. Welcome to our channel Pakkanapatiko. Today we are entering into a physiology topic that is mainly well-known thing, that is an endocrinology. In this, uh, everyone know the introduction, right, about the anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, and then hypothalamus, and which is the master of endocrine glands, and blah 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 things. These are the so for known for everyone, right? So now we are going to enter into a growth hormone. This is one of the hormone that is secreted from the anterior pituitary. Okay, let's go into the topic. Synopsis. Here, it goes on with introduction, functional anatomy, action, mode of secretion, growth hormone receptors, and then regulation of secretion, applied physiology, both hypersecretion and hyposecretion. And this glossary is not considered in this. Okay, this is for our sake in going with the lecture. I mean this video. But while entering into the exam, okay, in exam point of view, we have to, if whatever may be the hormone, it may be an thyroid or insulin, any hormone, you have to come across these topics. Okay, that is source, chemistry, half-life, synthesis and metabolism, action, mode of secretion, regulation of secretion, and applied physiology. Okay. Growth hormone. Growth hormone is a peptide hormone which helps in the growth of the body from birth. Growth hormone plays a very important role here. Okay, the growth hormone is otherwise called as somatotrophins or somatotrophic hormone. Why this is called as somatotrophin or somatotrophic hormone? Because this is secreted by somatotrophs, which are acidophilic cells of anterior pituitary. Basically, the anterior pituitary, this is a general thing. The anterior pituitary have different types of cells, namely the somatotrophs, corticotrophs, thyrotrophs, gonadotrophs, and lactotrophs. Each cells are stained by means of an acid stain or the basic stain. Based upon that, it is given a name, that is acidophilic cells and the basophilic cells. Here, the somatotroph is an acidophilic cell, okay, because it stains with the acid dye. Okay, well, here you see, I have previously mentioned about the cells, right? The other hormones that is secreted by the anterior pituitary. What are they? You just go with it. Thyroid stimulating hormone. The thyroid stimulating hormone is secreted by means of thyrotrophs. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, that's it, ACTH, is secreted by means of an corticotrophs. This both the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone is secreted by means of an gonadotrophs, and the prolactin is secreted by means of an lactotrophs. These are the different types of cells that is present in the anterior pituitary, and that particular cell will have a specific hormone secretion. Okay, now we are entering into the chemistry of hormone, that is growth hormone, not a chemistry. Okay, when we enter into the chemistry, we should know about the nature of the hormone, whether it is a peptide hormone or some other. Yeah, it is a steroid. Likewise, we have to know about what is the type of that particular hormone. Okay, when we come to the growth hormone, it is a protein in nature, and it has a molecular weight of about 22,000 5 daltons, and the amino acid sequence, I means the number of amino acid is 191, and it is in a single chain polypeptide. Okay, and the daily output, okay, of growth hormone in adult is 1 0.5 to 1 milligram per day. Okay, wow. And then transport, it is by transported by means of a growth hormone binding proteins. And then half life and metabolism. What is half life here? Actually, the half life is very small, right? 6 to 20 minutes. Okay, and why this half life is too small? Because it is loosely binded with the plasma proteins. You just note this point here. I will explain the reason of this particular why the half life is short, and that reason will be getting to you in the later part of the lecture. Okay, and then degraded in the liver and kidney. Okay, fine. Then blood plasma level, usually in adults it is about 1.6 to 3 nanogram per ml, and children is up to 6 nanogram per ml. and this may increase up to 50 nanogram per ml in the prolonged starvation. And you have to note one thing: during the birth, the growth hormone level keeps on increasing, and in the childhood it remains same, and it reaches the maximum level at puberty, and in adult life it is quite lesser than that of it. In the senescence it is very low. Okay, this is a sequence of the growth hormone secretion in the different periods of life and actions. Coming into an action, it especially helps in the growth of the tissue, right? That is, increases the size of cells and increases the number of cells. That is, there will be an increase in the volume of tissue. What is the size and growth? That is, mainly it involves in the increased mitosis. Here the number of cells will be greater and greater, and there will be differentiation mainly in the bone and the muscle cells. Okay, and it also extends its hands in the metabolism, that is fat, proteins and the carbohydrates, and these are the different metabolism that is involved of. Okay, let's jump into the metabolism first of all, that is protein metabolism. What are the, I mean here, in protein metabolism, it causes the deposition of the proteins in the tissues. That is, it will minimize the usage of the protein here. Okay, first point, you see, increases the amino acid transport. How the amino acid transport occurs? Actually, the growth hormone directly enhances the transport of most amino acids. Okay, that is via the cell membrane to the interior of the cells, as the amino acids are the required, I mean amino acids are required for the translation, right? So that only it forms peptide, and it helps this is how it will enhances the protein content in the cell. Okay, this is a one way. And increases the RNA translation. This RNA translation is speeded up by means of a growth hormone. The translation is a product, I mean, as a product of translation we get proteins, right? And the third thing is increases transcription of DNA to RNA. We know that in previously we have learned about the molecular biology, that from RNA the transcription occurs and it results in the formation of mRNA, and the mRNA is undergoing translation in the ribosomes, that causes the synthesis or the production of protein. Okay, in this way they are saying that the transcription of DNA to RNA, that is transcription occurs. Decreases the catabolism of protein. Okay, what is meant by catabolism? Catabolism is breakdown. Anabolism is nothing but building up. Okay, decreases the catabolism in the sense, actually in our body. Okay, in our body there will be a protein as well as carbohydrates and fat. Here, this growth hormone will mainly mobilizes the fat from the adipose tissue, and it results in the production of energy. We will see that process in the upcoming slides. Okay, that it will utilize up the fat and not with the carbohydrates or the proteins. Here that acts as a protein sparer. Okay, and if it decreases the catabolism, then it promotes the anabolism. I have previously said about the amino acid transport, RNA translation and transcription of DNA to RNA, and all these process combines to result in the synthesis of protein, that is mainly named as anabolism of protein. Fat metabolism. What is fat metabolism? Actually, I have said previously about this in catabolism of protein. The growth hormone will causes the mobilization of the fat from the adipose tissue. Okay, that is what I said previously. Here you see, from the adipose tissue, it causes the fat mobilization, and it causes the concentration of the fatty acids to be increased in the blood, and this fatty acids will get converted into an acetyl CoA. Okay, it gets converted into an acetyl CoA with the help of a growth hormone, and finally it results in the production of energy. And here they act as a protein and the carbohydrates sparer, and hence they are spared here. Okay, and here there is one applied significance. What is that? Here is ketogenic effect of growth hormone. What is the ketogenic effect of growth hormone? That is the production of ketone bodies. What are the ketone bodies we know of? That is butyric acid, acetoacetic acid, acetones, and these are the ketone bodies that we know of. Okay, actually, whenever the growth hormone level is increased, okay, excessive amounts of the growth hormone is secreted, it causes a fat mobilization from the adipose tissue becomes so high, so that it causes the production of large quantities of acetoacetic acid that are formed by the liver. Okay, this causes ketosis. Okay, and this excessive mobilization of fat from the adipose tissue also frequently causes a fatty liver. Okay, this is an applied aspect. Okay, that is here the carbohydrate metabolism. Okay, there is decrease in the peripheral utilization of the glucose for the production of energy. Yeah, the growth hormone is in the carbohydrates para. We came to know that in the previous metabolism, right? And increase in the deposition of the glycogen in the cells. Whenever there is an increased glucose content in the blood, it will causes the deposition of the glycogen. I mean, conversion of glucose into glycogen, and it causes the deposition of the glycogen in the muscle cells or something else. And decrease in the uptake of glucose by the cells. Actually, the energy production is from the uh, I mean fat, right? I have previously mentioned about it. So it will decreases the uptake of the glucose by the cells for the production of energy, and it causes an increased secretion of growth hormone, increases the insulin resistance like type 2. Yeah, this is a diabetogenic effect. Okay, and I will explain in the next upcoming slide. This is an antagonistic effect of the growth hormone. Okay, it increases the blood glucose level. Okay, it decreases the blood glucose level, decreases the glucose uptake by the skeletal muscles, increases the glucose uptake by the skeletal muscles and the adipose tissue, increases the gluconeogenesis. What is meant by gluconeogenesis? That is a production of carbohydrates from the non-carbohydrate sources. Okay, and here it decreases the, yes, here it increases the gluconeogenesis and it decreases the gluconeogenesis. Further increase in the glucose level. It causes the increase in the blood glucose level. But basically, insulin will decreases the blood glucose level, right? And thus, insulin secretion is increased. That is in a compensatory mechanism here. And this is known as the diabetogenetic effect of growth hormone on bones. Mainly, the main role of the growth hormone is on bones, right? Why? Because if a growth has to take place, there should be a lengthening or the thickening of the bone. Here, the differentiation and the development of the bone cells occurs, and increase in the bone length as well as the thickness. The growth hormone increases the synthesis and deposition of proteins by the chondrocytes and the osteogenetic cells. Okay, chondrocytes is nothing but the cell that is related to the production of cartilage, and the osteogenetic cells is the cells that is related to the production of bones, and multiplication of chondrocytes and the osteogenic cells. Okay, and then formation of new bones. These are the things that growth hormone usually increases. Okay, and the principles influencing the growth hormone. That is, I said there is a lengthening and thickening. If the lengthening has to happen, that's somehow the mechanism is right, as well as the thickening. There should be some mechanism behind it. Let's see into it. Lengthening of the bones. The growth hormone causes the increase in lengthening of long bones at the epiphyseal end. Usually, the lengthening of the bone occurs mainly at the epiphyseal end. Okay, that is a deposition of the cartilage occurs, and then conversion of it into a new bone. That is by means of a calcification. Okay, and then there, if a bone is formed, there will be an elongation of the bone. Okay, and epiphysis is pushed away from farther apart. Usually, you have to know that the epiphysis, okay, epiphysis in the sense, a bone has shaft, metaphysis, and the epiphysis. The shaft and the epiphysis is separated by means of an epiphyseal plate. and that mainly involves in the lengthening of the bone. Okay, that is epiphysis is put farther apart. At late adolescence, the epiphyseal plate is completely utilized up in the growth. Okay, and it becomes no more. Actually, here the fusion of the epiphysis occurs. Beyond this, there won't be any growth. For most of us, we will think that we will not grow after this period, and we know that we won't grow. But the reason behind the growth is none other than this. Okay, the epiphyseal plate will get fused so that there won't be any growth. Okay, and thickening of the bones. Mainly, bone has a two types of cells. One is osteoblast cells, and another one is nothing but the osteoclast cells. We will know, right? There will be a Brahma. If there is a Brahma, there should be a Shivan. So that here the osteoblast cells and the osteoclast cells. Osteoblast cell is a Brahma. B for Brahma, you can remember it. So osteoblast forms a newborn. Osteoclast destroy. Okay, destroys the cells, and the osteoblast cells in the periosteum and the endosteum will causes the deposition of the new bone cells. At the same time, the osteoclasts will causes the destroying of the old bone, that is called mainly we come to known as resorption, right? And that it is, and the rate of formation when in a particular time, the rate of formation will be greater than that of the rate of resorption, and it causes a thickening of the bone. Okay, and GH, that is a growth hormone, will mainly stimulates the osteoblast cells to produce a new bone. It causes a thickening. Do it fast like that. It will boost up the osteoblast cells. Okay, so that there will be a thickening of the bone. Especially this is true for the membranous bone. You can, when you handle a newborn baby, they will say don't touch the head. It will be too soft, like that. So many things will be that, right? But if we touch our head now, it will be harder. Okay, and what is the difference? It is soft and now it is harder, and here the osteoblast cells do its work very fastly because the growth hormone will boost up the osteoblast cells and causes the thickening. Do it faster, like that. He is saying. Okay, so that here the thickening occurs actually the skull bones and the jaw, especially the jaw bone. These are the bones that of membranous ossification. Okay, that's it about the bone. And here the growth hormone, however, there is a queen, there is a king, there must be a queen to act, right? So here with the growth hormone, another one particular hormone is important. Without this, there won't be any action, right? So here the influences on the growth, bone growth by the somatomedin. Here the queen is somatomedin. Okay, which is secreted by means of liver. Okay, the substances through which the growth hormone acts, that is somatomedin. Actually, I have to mention it, that is we are growing a chondrocytes. Okay, we are growing a chondrocytes in a lab condition. In the another way, in our body there will be a chondrocytes, right? So I am giving a nutrient supplement with the growth hormone. Okay, so I'm observing whether the growth hormone is growing or not, it is proliferating or not. But in the lab condition it doesn't happen. Why? And in the normal intact person it is happening. And there comes a question, why the growth hormone in the lab condition, why the chondrocytes in the lab condition is not proliferating or increasing its size, but here this happens in an intact person. Now we came to know that there is a special person named as somatomedin. Without his help we can't do anything, like that. In case of bone growth mainly. Okay, and this is a substance usually you through which the growth hormone actually acts, and it is a polypeptide which is produced by means of liver and other tissues, and its molecular weight is about 7500 daltons, and it has a special name called insulin like growth factor. What Why it is called as insulin like growth factor? The Many of the somatomedin effects on growth are similar to the effects of insulin on growth. So, especially it is called as insulin like growth factors. So far, we have isolated four different types of somatomedin, out of which these two are related to that of growth mainly. That is called somatomedin C now for protein metabolism and bone growth, and IGF-2 that is for the growth of the fetus. Okay, and you can think why we are mentioning this type of people here. They are called as pygmies, who are the tribes of Africa, and I came to know that these people have a deficiency with somatomedin C. Actually, in that body, the growth hormone may be normal or it to be high. There won't be any. There is no deficiency of a growth hormone, but these people seems to be very small. You can observe in that picture, right? You see here, there is a the growth is very small. Okay, that's why this is because of the deficiency of somatomedin C. Okay, and then there is another people called as Levolorine dwarfs. These peoples also similar to that category. That is, they too have the same problem, that is deficiency of somatomedin. This doesn't mean a change in growth hormone, which may be a normal or it may be a high, but here the growth is affected. When we saw a drop, we can think that it is a growth hormone deficiency, but it might be a growth hormone deficiency or it might be a somatomedin deficiency. So we came to know how the somatomedin is important for the growth. Okay, and I have previously mentioned one thing about this. Okay, the half life of growth hormone is about 6 to 20 minutes. Okay, here I have to mention one more thing. The half life of a somatomedin C is 20 hours. And how this is possible? Okay, here the binding nature of the plasma, I mean that particular peptide with the plasma protein, the I have mentioned there, the growth hormone is loosely binded with the plasma protein, but the somatomedin C is tightly binded with the plasma proteins, and so it has a greater half-life of about 20 hours, and it as it is loosely bound, it has a less half-life of about 20 minutes. Okay, and it acts through a messenger known as cyclic AMP. That's it. Actually, the growth hormone receptors, right? This growth hormone receptors are known as GH secretagogues. Okay, that is GHS. Acts as a transmembrane receptor. As it is a peptide, it can't get directly entered into the cells. So the receptors of this particular hormone is usually present in the cell membrane. Yeah, in some other things, you will have a cell membrane inside the nucleus, or it may be in the cytoplasm or something else. And here, the hormone has a receptors that is mainly in the cell membrane. And a type of receptors that is seen here is the hormone that uses a receptor tyrosine kinase signaling. Okay, the secondary messenger that is a tyrosine kinase signaling. Okay, and here the somatomedin C, that is insulin like growth factor 1, the growth hormone, and the insulin, all these things use the same kind of signaling here. And here the introduces an intracellular enzyme pathway in the liver for the somatomedin secretion, and usually the growth hormone executes its action. Okay, and the regulation of GH secretion. The hypothalamus and the feedback mechanism plays a very important role in the secretion. Okay, how the hypothalamus is se- executing its mechanism in growth hormone secretion. That is, it has three different things. That is a GHRH, GHRP, and then GHIH. That is somatostatin. That is the GHRH is the growth hormone releasing hormone. It will causes a GH secretion by stimulating the somatostrophs of anterior pituitary. GHRP, okay, the GHRH from the hypothalamus and GH from pituitary. I mean, it stimulates the growth hormone releasing peptide that will stimulate the GH, I mean, the growth hormone releasing hormone from the hypothalamus and the growth hormone from the pituitary. Both the actions. Okay, and the GHIH is nothing but the somatostatin, and it is growth hormone inhibiting hormone. Okay, growth hormone secretion is usually, it is also secreted by means of delta cells of pancreas. Okay, I mean inhibits the delta cells of pancreas. Okay, beyond this, the GH secretion is usually decreases from the childhood. This is a general thing I have to mention here. You, whenever you reaches after, I mean after the adolescence, the growth hormone secretion is drastically reduced. That is, it reduces to its 25 percentage of growth hormone what is secreted in the period of adolescence. That is, in when you are getting old, okay, we are old, okay, the growth hormone level is about 25 percentage. If when you are an adult you have 100 mg, okay, for example, this is not a true value, for example, for your understanding sake I am saying this. When you are adult, in your blood level is 100 mg, okay, but when you reach your old age, it will secrete only 25 mg per day. You know what it is, the 25 percentage is only secreted. Okay, the growth hormone is usually secreted in a pulsating manner. It keeps on increasing and suddenly it reduces, keeps on increasing, almost like ECG QRS waves, right? That is ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. It won't be stable that it secretes very high and it does not secrete. There won't be any normal wave, there will be a zigzag waves. It suddenly keeps on increasing and suddenly it falls down. That is what they are saying about the pulsating pattern of increasing and decreasing growth hormone secretion. Okay, well, as of now, the precise mechanism of growth hormone secretion is not found or not understood. Okay, and we people are there to find it soon. Growth hormone secretion is usually stimulated by means of hypothalamus, fasting, starvation, exercise, stress and trauma, and the initial stages of sleep. Okay. Here, hypothalamus. The hypothalamus can increases GHRH, okay, growth hormone releasing hormone. If it secretes that, it will causes an increased secretion of growth hormone. First thing, and fasting and starvation. The fasting and the starvation, okay, it I have to mention about this thing. The hypothalamus will reach satiety in hyperglycemia and hunger in hypoglycemia. Satiety, what does mean by that? Sunday afternoon having a non-veg meal and having that fullness, right? That is called satiety. Jokes apart, hunger is, it stimulates its secretion, and satiety, it stops its secretion or inhibits its secretion. Okay, and in fasting, starvation, it, there will be a hypoglycemic condition in exercise too. Okay, in these three condition there will be an a hypoglycemic condition. Okay, in this hypoglycemic condition, it stimulates the hypothalamus to secrete the growth hormone, and therefore the growth hormone level increases. And stress and trauma, usually when we are undergoing a stress or trauma or excitement, okay, that will cause us a production of adrenaline and noradrenaline, that is in a catecholamines. The catecholamines will also stimulates the hypothalamus to increase the rate of growth of hormone secretion. Okay, and the first 2 hours of the deep sleep, okay, it will increases, I mean there will be an increased growth hormone secretion. And one more thing, the ghrelin, okay, GHRELIN, ghrelin, okay, and this is secreted. This is a hormone that is secreted by the stomach before meals, and that will also stimulates the secretion of growth hormone. Okay, and inhibition by increase in fatty acid in fat. blood. If fatty acid content in the blood keeps on increasing, okay, what's the function of growth hormone? Actually, it will cause a fat mobilization from the adipose tissue, and it causes an increased concentration of the fatty acids in the blood. Here the negative feedback mechanism occurs. Actually, the whenever there is an increased fatty acid content in the blood, it will inhibits the anterior pituitary, that there is enough fatty acids in the blood, so stops secreting the growth hormone. So here the inhibition occurs. In the later stages of the sleeps, also the growth hormone will keeps on decreasing. Okay, feedback control. Actually, before explaining this, I have to go with this. Okay, that is a circadian rhythm, stress, and cortisol fasting. I mean, that's those things that simulates the hypothalamus. Okay, this will causes a growth GHRH and somatostatin. The GHRH will causes a inhibition, I mean stimulation to produce of anterior pituitary to produce the growth hormone. This growth hormone will causes the liver and the other tissues to secrete the insulin like growth factor, that is the somatomedin, that mainly involves in the growth of the cartilage, I mean that is in a bone growth. At the same time, it also extends its function to the metabolism. The growth hormone also plays in the role of carbohydrate mechanism, I mean metabolism, that is an increasing blood glucose level, and it also causes a bone and other tissues growth. Okay, this is a normal function. We have to know about the negative feedback mechanism, right? Whenever there is a increased blood glucose level or increased insulin like growth factors in the blood, okay, here it causes a inhibition or to the anterior pituitary of growth hormone, and also to the hypothalamus to secrete the somatostatin or stop secreting the GHRH. If it stops secreting the GHRH or and it secretes somatostatin, it inhibits the anterior pituitary, okay, anterior lobe of the pituitary to secretes the growth hormone, and the growth hormone level in the blood stops. And that is what the feedback control mechanism. You see here the negative feedback, GHRH and GHRP from the hypothalamus stimulates, okay, causes a release of growth hormone, activates the cells of the liver to secrete the somatomedin C, okay, and it will causes the normal things, okay. GHIH from the hypothalamus inhibits the release of growth hormone and release of GHRP from the hypothalamus. GH inhibits its own secretion by the release of GH, short loop feedback. I mean the short loop feedback, long loop feedback. These are the types, okay, to the applied physiology. What is the applied physiology? That is the hypersecretion and the hyposecretion, okay. The hypersecretion, what is gigantism? Okay, the gigantism is the excessive growth of the body, right? And it mainly reaches up to a height of about 8 feet, okay. And it is mainly caused by of the tumor of acidophilic cells in the anterior pituitary. The anterior pituitary acidophilic cells is multiplied, okay, that is a tumor is the multiplication of that particular cells, so that it causes an excessively active, and it produces an large quantities of the growth hormones are produced, so that all body tissue causes growth, okay, rapidly, including the bones, okay. If this condition occurs before the adolescence, it is called, that is before the fusion of epiphysis, it is called as gigantism, okay. If it occurs after the fusion of, I mean epiphysis, it is called as acromegaly, okay. The giants ordinarily has hyperglycemia. What is hyperglycemia here? The hyperglycemia is nothing but the increased blood glucose level. Okay, and what increased blood glucose level? Why? Because the growth hormone has a diabetogenic effect, and it causes a increased secretion. I mean increased blood glucose level, and the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans of the pancreas are prone to degenerate because they are always stimulating secrete insulin. How much time it will bear that, and it will finally leads to the this is degenerated, okay. Consequently, in about 10% of giants, full-blown diabetes mellitus eventually develops. Okay, why diabetes mellitus happens? Why? Because there will be a destruction of the islets of the Langerhans. Okay, so that there will be occurrence of diabetes mellitus. Okay, acromegaly. Acromegaly is enlargement, thickening, and broadening of bones. Here, there won't be any lengthening of bones. Why? Because the fusion of the if epiphysis occurs, and there won't be any lengthening. It causes a thickening of the bones. Okay, causes is nothing but the hypersecretion of GH due to the tumors of the acidophilic cells of anterior pituitary. Okay, fine, yeah. Signs and symptoms, you see, you have gorilla face, enlargement of the hand and the feet, kyphosis, hypertension, hyperactivity of the thyroid, parathyroid, and the adrenal glands. Distinguish between the acromegaly and gigantism. Exactly what it is. Here, it occurs in the pre-adult life, that is before adolescence. It occurs in the adults before the fusion of epiphyses, after the fusion of epiphyses. Here, the length will increase. Here, the thickness will increase. Okay, that's it about the hypersecretion. And one more thing here is Cushing's disease. We can say that because of tumors of anterior pituitary, here under here the gigantism comes to play, and so on. So but the anterior pituitary not only consists of acidophilic cells, right? It also contains the basophilic cells and so on. So if it is causes in a basophilic adenoma, it causes this like hypersecretion of some other hormones like adrenocorticotrophs and some other hormones that is present in the anterior pituitary. Okay, and this pituitary tumor, okay, causes Cushing disease. Adrenal tumor causes Cushing syndrome, and it is different. The pituitary tumor causes Cushing disease, and the adrenal tumor in the sense adrenal cortex and the adrenal midlife, there will be a hypersecretion of glucocorticoids or the mineralocorticoids. It will cause us Cushing syndrome. Here, the ACTH secretion is increased so that it causes Cushing's disease. Okay. Hyposecretion. Hyposecretion in the sense the panhypopituitarism. This is not related to the growth hormone alone. It is a combined form of all deficiency. The panhypopituitarism means the decreased secretion of all anterior pituitary hormone. Okay, it may be a congenital. Okay, it may develop during the birth or developed during their lifetime. The main causes for the panhypopituitarism is three, and they are the craniopharyngiomas. And what is meant by craniopharyngiomas? And the tumors conditions involving the pituitary gland. This is called craniopharyngiomas. And chromophobe. What is meant by chromophobe tumors? May cause if a chromophobe tumor will causes the compression of the pituitary gland until its functioning is stopped or destroyed. The completely pituitary gland will be destroyed. That causes the chromophobe. And the thrombosis of the pituitary vessels. And this mainly develops during the birth. Develops whenever the mother, okay, whenever new mother develops circulatory shock after the birth of her baby. Okay, when a new mother, okay, it will give birth to her baby, and she may have a circulatory shock. In that particular time it will causes the thrombosis of the pituitary blood vessels. Okay, the general effects of pan hypopituitarism are the hypothyroidism, decreases secretion of glucocorticoids, sexual functions are lost, and dwarfism. Here all these things are related to one hormone. The whenever the thyroid hormone level, TSH level decreases, it causes hypothyroidism. Whenever the secretion of ACTH decreases, it causes the decreased secretion of glucocorticoids. Gonadotrophin affected and the sexual functions are lost, and the growth hormone affected, it results in the dwarfism. Okay, and dwarfism, that is mainly caused by means of pan hypopituitarism. The children with the stunted growth, the proportion of the body parts are normal. There won't be any mental retardations, and reproduction functions are affected. In this case, I have to mention When a children is affected by means of panhypopituitarism, we can say that the sexual functions are the sexual functions are not affected only when they have a problem with the growth hormone. One third of the, I mean, if three children are affected by means of an panhypopituitarism, out of which only one children have a sexual loss, but other than this normally it is affected with the growth hormone. That's why I have mentioned here the reproductive functions are not affected. Most probably the reproduction functions will not be affected, but in some cases when it is affected, affects the gonadotrophin secretion, there will be any sexual problems. There won't be any cross age of puberty, and still they will be sterile and so on. Okay. Acromegalia is nothing but the atrophy of the extremities of the bone. Okay, and this is also because of a deficiency of growth hormone, and it causes the thinning of extremities associated with the hypothyroidism and the loss of sexual functions. Simmons disease. This is one of the different, I mean, rare form of a disease, and it is due to pituitary cachexia. Okay, the panhypopituitarism due to the atrophy of cells of antopituitary. This is the reason for the causage of Simmons disease, and the symptoms are rapid senile decay, loss of hair over the body, loss of teeth, and skin becomes dry and wrinkled. Okay, and for your sake, I have mentioned what is meant by the craniopharyngioma and chromophobe and thrombosis of the pituitary vessels. And these are the things, I mean, I have mentioned there. Some people may need this explanation, right? So I have mentioned this, and thank you. Do follow on Instagram, and if there is any request on any video, I have mentioned my email ID here, and you can mail in that, and we will be seeing soon with some other interesting video. And until then, it is me Saran signing off, and everyone